Hi, everyone. I'm Shane McMurray, CEO, founder of The Wedding Report. Thanks for joining us for this podcast video series focused on wedding venues, caterers, bar service, and rental companies. Today, I'm meeting with Justin. He's at the barn at Bull Meadow, and he's the owner. And they're in Concord, New Hampshire. Justin, thanks for being on the show. Tell me about yourself and your business.
Yeah, Shane, thanks for having me here. The Barn at Bull Meadow is a family-owned and operated wedding venue in Concord, New Hampshire, about an hour and a half north of Boston, so southern New Hampshire. We just opened up in the fall of 2020, so we're almost at the 2-year mark. So
Nice.
we're relatively new, and we're loving it so far. Things are going really well. 2022 has been a really busy year for us and most others in the industry, and yeah, we're loving everything so far.
Yeah. I was looking at your Instagram and checking out some of the progress on the barn as you guys are
Yeah,
building it and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. Excellent.
yeah, it was a fun experience. We shared as much of it as we could on social media, and it gained a lot of attention in this area. And yeah, it was a stressful time. We started construction a couple months before COVID hit.
Yeah,
We
I
just kind
saw
of rolled
that.
through with everything and opened up kind of right in the middle of it all. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. New Hampshire was one of the states that did not have as much downflow from COVID regarding number of weddings. That's one of the things I track. So I was looking at New Hampshire, but in New Hampshire, I think they were only down about 10%
That sounds
overall.
about right. There was, prior to us opening, there was a period where they did shut down weddings, but it was short. It was somewhere between a few weeks and a month or two, but we weren't
Yeah.
even open yet, so that didn't impact us. By the time we opened, there were limitations on the number of guests, but there was the mask mandate was really only put into effect if there was more than 100 total people in the building.
Wow. Okay.
What we found, we had a lot of weddings that actually cut their guest count down to get below that limit, to prevent wearing
Yeah.
masks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our staff all had masks on, but we saw a lot of weddings without them.
Yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure. So tell me, why did you guys decide to build a venue and get that going up, especially up in well, you guys are kind of out a little bit north of Concord, right? Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah. My wife and I were married in 2017 in this general area, and we were looking. There's a lot of beautiful barns up here in New Hampshire and New England in general, but most of them are historic barns that have been retrofitted to be wedding venues. We wanted to get married in a barn, but we wanted something a little more modern. We're brewery people. We like going to breweries and that type of thing. So kind of a blend between like rustic and modern and industrial is kind of what we're going for. And so anyways, we couldn't find that. So my brother and I, we own some rental properties. We decided, let's shift gears a little bit. And I put together a business plan and convinced him and my wife to go in on this. So we looked for land, found a beautiful property north of Concord, and eventually started construction after getting all the permits and things and jumped into it. Now, my wife, shortly after our wedding, started working in the industry. So she worked at a local wedding venue.
gotcha.
And my brother and I come from completely different backgrounds, but we were kind of looking to get out of our full-time jobs and really have a family business that could support all of us.
Great.
And that's kind of what we've built. So
Awesome. Awesome. And so it's Bull Meadow. Is there something special about that? The name?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we get asked about that quite a bit. So the land, we purchased it from a gentleman and his wife, and his father lived out on the property for about 40 years prior to that, and he lived completely off grid. But he had this thing with bulls. He had a field out there on the property where he kept bulls,
Nice.
and one at a time, but they were like pets to him. He would feed them by hand. And as we were going through the zoning variance process with the town, trying to get permission to build a wedding venue, we started to hear about this. So you had people that, refer to the property as Bull Meadow. And we asked some of the neighbors about it, and they said, "Oh yeah, that's just what we all know it as. There's the old man used to keep bulls out there in that field out in the woods." And we loved that the property had a story that went with it, and so it's stuck. We
Yeah.
actually we have a map in our office at the barn from I think it's 1978 or something like that, and it's got Bull Meadow written on there.
Oh,
One of the
nice.
neighbors gave it to us, so yeah.
That's pretty cool. How big is
Yeah,
the property, Justin?
34 acres.
Nice. That's a pretty good size.
Most of it's just woods. We use it as privacy to help the property feel secluded.
Mhm.
So, when people are out there, we hear it all the time that, it doesn't feel like we're in Concord. It feels like we're in northern New Hampshire. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what we were going for. We wanted the northern New Hampshire feel, but still have the proximity to hotels and
Yeah.
caterers and all the other
Totally makes
vendors.
sense. Plus I guess the woods and boundary kind of help with noise.
They do, absolutely. They help to an extent. We still try to be mindful of our neighbors, and we don't allow like outside bands or anything like that out on the
Gotcha.
patio. We've talked to the neighbors and they do hear us, but it's not keeping them up at night.
That's
So
good. Yeah.
yeah, but
That's a
it definitely
plus.
does help. Yeah.
That's a plus for sure. You guys started this a couple of years ago. What would you say? I mean, if you had to tell me, what's like the one thing that gets you excited about this? I know you guys started, you and your brother started, some rental property business as well. But when it comes to this, what's the one thing that gets you excited?
I still love the weddings. I mean, if you don't really love weddings, you shouldn't get into this business. And even my brother, who's single, I swear he cried for the first 30 weddings we had at the
Oh
barn. He's
man,
just,
that's awesome.
it's you have to really enjoy that, and something about seeing a family get together, especially after going through everything that went on in 2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
Seeing these families get together and celebrate is great. I don't get to see a whole lot of the wedding ceremonies,
Mhm.
but I see a lot of the grand entrances during the reception
Nice.
afterwards, and it gets me every single time. It's just it's a lot of fun getting families together for this day that they're all going to remember for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I think that's also why a lot of other people are in the wedding business, right?
Yeah.
The whole part of the wedding and the people coming together, and this is super exciting. Um, Tell me what the process is that couples go through when they book with you guys. Like, what do they go through? What's the process?
Yeah. So the CRM that we use funnels everything into that CRM. So whether they reach out to us through the Knot or Wedding Wire or our website, it all funnels right to that CRM. And from there, each day we assign a coordinator to reply to inquiries. So, and they're supposed to reply periodically throughout the day. We tell them to reply between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. We really don't want to be replying outside of those windows, but
Sure.
they reply to the inquiry with, we have like a template that we customize that includes our brochure, all of our pricing, and our availability. And then towards the bottom of the reply, there's a link to a Calendly page, which is like an automated scheduling software
Right.
that we use. So
Mhm.
if the couple wants to schedule a tour, they can just go right there, and it's integrated with our Google Calendar, and they can schedule a time for a tour. And then that software kind of sends them reminders and things leading up to the tour. And then they come in for a tour. We give them about a 45-minute long tour of the property. It is guided by one of our wedding coordinators.
Okay.
And then at the end of the tour, kind of give them the opportunity if they're ready to book. And if not, we reach out to them a couple days later to see how things are going. And yeah, that's the process for us. It works pretty well. It took some iterations to kind of get it to where it is now,
Mhm.
but it's as automated as we'd like it to be. I think there's a kind of a fine line there. You don't want it too automated where they feel like they're dealing with a robot, but at the same time, we hear from hundreds of couples every month, so we do have to automate it to an extent.
Yeah, I think it also depends on what part of the country you're in, right? Too. Like if you're if you're in an area where it's a little more rural, right? Not so much like New York City. I think in
Yeah,
New York City, people expect things to be like instant, automated, right?
exactly.
And then if you're a little more rural, things are a little more laid back and a little more comfortable. So, it takes a little bit of
It
little
does. And
difference.
even when we first started giving tours, I mean, I remember an inquiry would come in, I'd be on my phone replying right away. I was there replying within 5 minutes every single time. And we do our best to reply as quickly as we can.
Yeah.
But we also don't want our team to be, on their phone 24/7 replying to people. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. That
yeah,
makes sense too, for
yeah.
sure. What kind of packages do you guys offer? You said you offer packages. So what do you guys offer?
So our packages are a little limited at the time, to be honest. We're actually working on building those out. But
Okay.
what we are a package with us, we give the couple access to the barn at 9 a.m. So we only do one wedding a day. So we have 3 bridal suites on the property in the
Nice.
barn that they can kind of pick from. So they can use the barn to get ready at 9 a.m. They can start preparing for the day and decorating. We provide all the tables, chairs, and linens.
That comes with the whole place, right?
Yes, it does.
All
We
right.
also, so that includes indoor reception chairs as well as white outdoor chairs for the ceremony.
Okay.
Um, and then we provide all the bar staff as well. We do have a liquor license here in New Hampshire, so bar staff plus all the bar consumables.
Great.
And then we provide a wedding coordinator too, so a day of coordinator, which we assign to the wedding, and they're kind of the point of contact leading up to the
Gotcha.
wedding.
Nice.
Yeah, and then we provide a couple other staff members there throughout the wedding to kind of help out with bussing tables and anything else that needs assistance throughout the wedding. Now
Cool.
we're working on some vendor packages where a couple can kind of pick a package with us that includes a set, maybe a photographer and a DJ and things like that. But I'll be honest, it's taken us a little while to get that together, and it's something we hope to have done by the end of the summer.
Do you have couples asking you for like the whole thing? Can you just guys just do
We
everything?
do, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw an email go through yesterday, a couple just saying, I want one price for everything. What is it?
Mhm. Yeah.
And we've heard that, we don't hear it all the time, but we hear that quite a bit. And that's part of the reason why we're trying to put these packages together.
Do you think couples are kind of moving more in that direction? Like, just look, I don't want to have to deal with the piecemeal thing. Give me one price and let's
I
go.
think so. It does feel like it's a lot less DIY now than it was even a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I think couples are just realizing how much work kind of gets into this. People are busy. They've got a lot of stuff going on outside of life, and planning a wedding is a lot of work. It can be
It is.
stressful,
Yeah.
and
Totally. Yeah.
it's we try to have that conversation with couples up front. We explain exactly what's included with our day of coordination services,
Mhm.
and say, and here's what a wedding planner can do for you. So we try to put them next to each other to let the couple know right up front, here's what we're going to provide, here's what you need to do. If that seems like it's a little more than you're up for, a wedding planner might be a great option for you. And then we
Yeah.
have a few wedding planners that we can point them towards.
Cool. That gives them like
Yeah.
either coordination or a full planning type deal.
Well, we do day of coordination, which is quite a bit, to be honest. And I think
It
what we
is
do
quite
is
a
a little
bit.
more
Yeah.
than I think what we do is a lot more than some of the other local venues, at least. And that works for 90% of the couples that get married with us.
Cool.
But we're not going to be there going to meet with a DJ with them and things like that. We're
Yeah.
not going to help them negotiate pricing
Mhm.
for the other vendors. If they have questions, we're happy to help them out.
Yeah.
But we're going to make sure that all the vendors are on the same page. We've created a timeline for their day that they've helped us create, and that timeline is going to get followed the day of the wedding.
Yeah. That's where like a coordinator that does like a 6 month deal with them, or I'm sorry, 6 week deal with them is really helpful, right? Two to
Yeah,
2 months to, or 6 to 8 weeks is helping them kind of like finalize all the stuff and get things squared away. I don't know.
It-
That seems to
yeah.
me
It's it.
super
I think it's
helpful.
more work than people expect it's going to be,
Yeah,
and
yeah, for sure.
it really, the last thing you want to do is be stressed out leading up to your wedding. I mean,
Yeah.
it should be a happy day, a day that you're enjoying and looking forward to. And so we actually had an expo out at the barn this past winter just for wedding planners, and the idea was to really try to introduce couples that are getting married with us to wedding planners to kind of get an idea if that's something that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. How long advance right now are people booking with you guys? What are you seeing?
We had someone reach out to us yesterday about a 2025 wedding.
Wow.
So yeah, primarily what we're seeing is 2024 right now. We do still have quite a few dates left in 2023,
Mhm.
Fridays and Sundays mostly.
Yeah.
We're trying to fill those in, to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
most of our leads that are coming in are 2024 right now.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Do
I
you guys
think
have
couples are just seeing that, they they want some time.
Yeah.
They know that this is a lot of work that's
Yeah.
involved in planning a wedding. And one way to reduce their stress is to give themselves a little bit more of a deadline.
Yeah.
So
Do you guys have any variable costs that may impact booking someone out in 2024 or 2025?
yeah, we do. I was going to discuss it a little bit later on. One of the biggest challenges I have right now is actually dealing with costs that we see are increasing, and how to figure out how to, kind of recuperate those or make up for those without,
Yeah.
customers complaining that, hey, your prices are going up.
Yeah.
Um, Things like shipping prices, we've seen those go up 3 or 4-fold over the last 12 months, not,
For
you
sure.
know, quite a bit. Liquor cost, beer cost, everything, consumables, and
Yeah.
it's
Any
not only
consumable.
costs, like sometimes we can't even find them. Like,
Mhm.
we use glass cups at the bar, but we switch over to plastic for the last hour of the event just to kind of help make cleanup a little bit easier. But we had, for like over a month last summer, we couldn't find any plastic cups.
Wow.
So little things like that that are just a little bit challenging right now.
Wow. Wow. So what would you say, couples are looking for? What would you say, like when you guys first started, couples were looking for a specific thing. I know it was high COVID season, but have you seen any shift between then and to now, what they're looking for?
I think it's a little bit more more hand holding. We it seems like the couples are reaching out to us and trying to get advice about things a little bit more now than they were at first. Now it's a small sample size. We've only, we did about 90 weddings our first year, and we're going to do about 115 now. So
That's
we've
a
done
lot of weddings
about
then.
yeah, we do a lot, but we've done about 150. So it's not a tiny sample size,
Mhm.
but it's still pretty small. So, and it's over a short period of time.
Yeah.
But we've seen more and more couples hire like designers or decorators to help, decorate for their wedding, as
Nice.
opposed to just coming in with stuff that they've purchased or made. So we're seeing a lot more of that, more wedding planners that are being used to kind of help out with planning the wedding.
Mhm.
Um,
Nice.
so yeah, so one of the other things we did, we have like um they're not fully automated, but emails that go out every other month starting at 1 year. So at
Mhm.
12 months, 10 months, 8 months, etc. We send out to each of the couples to kind of remind them about things and kind of things that they should be focused on at this point, and
Mhm.
that they should make sure your RSVP, your save the dates and stuff have already
Yeah.
gone out. Make sure that you've got your tuxedo rental done at this point. So we're trying to do things like that to really help them out as much as we can without stretching ourselves too thin.
That's a good idea. I mean, I see a lot of people actually doing that to kind of help guide them and make sure they're, staying in touch, help, try to help them out a little bit as they go
Yeah,
forward.
it makes everyone's life a little easier. So
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. My last question for you, Justin. So, if you had to go back 3, maybe 5 years ago, what would you tell yourself?
just I think really just you're gonna get through this. We had just broken ground about 2 months before COVID hit, and there was a lot of sleepless nights that first year during construction. Do do we stop? Do we stop where we're at and wait things through? Do we just push through all this?
Mhm.
Are we going to open up and have to cancel all these weddings? Like, what a terrible way to start your business.
Right.
And I think just telling ourselves, you're going to get through this. Things are going to push through. Things will get, somewhat back to normal. I don't think they're fully back to normal at this point, but it's close. So just really keep your head up, keep pushing through, and you'll survive.
I don't know if we'll ever be back to what anyone would consider
It's just
normal.
a different
right?
normal.
It's
Yeah.
just different, right? Everything
Yeah.
is different, right? Yeah. That's just
Yeah.
that's what it is. What are we gonna do?
It is. I mean, we it's all we knew for the first 6 months we were open. We opened up with restrictions in place. Luckily that, like you mentioned earlier, we could navigate through. New Hampshire didn't fully shut us down, thank God. But there were restrictions that we had to follow, and those have gone away for us at least at this point up here. So it was nice, but for a while that's the world we lived in. So
a lot of stress for sure.
yeah, absolutely. A lot of gray beard hairs, and yeah, a lot of stress, but everything's working out great now.
Awesome.
And we're super happy to be doing this.
Great. Justin, thanks so much for doing this.
Absolutely, Shane. Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye.